Okay, good morning, guys. How y'all doing today? Yes, I'm here today because I have another book read, and I wanna share it with y'all. Okay, so today I'm gonna talk about this book right here. It says "To Kill a Mockingbird." Now, when I was watching, when I read The Help, um, Abilene inside the book, she was reading this. She requested this book for Skeeter to give to her. So I said to myself, I'm gonna go to the library and get it, and I'm gonna read it too. And it was a delightful book. I'll tell you that. It was very good. It was an easy read. I breezed through it real quick. And I'm glad I read it. It was really informative. It was just like, it reminded me of like the Little Rascals a little. Yeah, just a little and a little mystery inside it and everything. It was actually about a family. It was the Finch family. And the little girl, her name was Jean Louise, and they called it Scout. Yeah. And she had a brother named Jim Finch, and they father Atticus. And they also had like like a housekeeper named Calpuna. Yes. All right. And so it was really nice. It was a really nice story. Like you know how children are, and they got wild imaginations. There's always this spooky house on the block that everybody's afraid of, and like the people who live there is like weird and it's things like that. And they had one of them. They was talking about how they never see the sun come outside, and they hear that he had bit his mother finger off and things. It was it was nice. It was a nice little tale. If anybody like um is familiar with the Little Rascals, you you yeah, it was something like this. Like they were just so involved, these two little children, and they had a friend named Bill who came during the summertime, and they was just doing little activities and things like that. It was a lot that went on in this book. It was a good book. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner, and I can understand why it was really good. Like the little girl was just so inquisitive and very smart for her age. Like when she started first grade, she already knew how to read. And the teacher was like, "Well, who taught you how to read? Tell you." And she's like, "No, no one taught me how to read. I just know how to read." And she was like, "Well, you tell them to stop teaching you because they're not teaching you correctly. I need to teach you. So you just forget about all the things that you know and you learned, and I'm going to teach you the correct way." And she was just like, "What?" But she was a lot advanced for her age. Like she already knew how to read, and some children in the class didn't even know their letters. And she was very inquisitive. She was a nice nice little girl. And her brother, then they had Dill who used to come over, and they used to just get into a lot of things. And a few things that happened in the town. For one, like their neighbor house caught on fire at one time, and they was and they had to help put it out. And this is like back in like 1920s, early 30s, 1930s, and so things was different then. It was a small town in Alabama. Yes, it was called Maycomb. That's where they was from, and it was a good book. It was a trial went on about a Negro man had had was accused of raping this white teenage girl, and her father was an attorney, was a lawyer, so he represented the Negro. His name was Tom Robinson, I think his name was. Yeah, and it was he was innocent. You know what I'm saying? But the way the world was back then, they found him guilty. Yeah, yeah. So and and when they took him to the prison, whatever, he tried to escape, and they wound up killing him. Yeah, so his Atticus, the father, he had a son named Jim, like I said, Jim Finch. I mean Jim, like a yeah, and he took it pretty hard, you know what I'm saying, because he was following the case, you know what I'm saying. These children was involved, they went to the courthouse, was watching their dad from the balcony, represent this guy Tom, and his son was like, "Yeah, yeah, I know we're going to win, Dad, because all the evidence and things like that, like." But come to find out they lost, and he couldn't understand. They kind of, it like kind of devastated him a little bit, but as time went on, he got over it and whatever, and a lot of other things went on in this town. It was a good book. It was really good, and the girl who her name was Mayella, she's the one who said that she was raped. She had a father named Yule. And this guy, man, what I'm saying, he made it his business. He said, he let him know, I'm gonna get y'all for this, for the fact that y'all tried to make a fool of me on the stand, me and my daughter, because everybody in the town probably knew they was lying. And Atticus made it evident, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people just looking at him sideways now, and because what happened was he actually beat his daughter up, and they blamed him on this man. So he felt some kind of way, like he was being disrespected. So he told Atticus, he spit in his face after the trial was over, was like, "Look, I'm going to get you for that." You know what I'm saying? Paybacks. And he did. He wanted to pay back everybody, even the guy Robinson's wife, because he was married. He even was harassing her. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but he even went by the judge house and broke into his home. And this and that. And the judge was like, "Yeah, I think it was him," because he said he was going to get back. But Atticus was like, "No, no, I'm sure he won the case." You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand what's the problem is, or why he feel like he got to take revenge or anything like that. So I just think he just hot headed. Atticus thought it would as time went on he would forget about it, but it was like in October now, and they had this kind of like Halloween festival at the school for the children, and Jean Louise, they called her Scout. She went there, and it was actually her telling the story. And she went there. Her brother took her. The father was kind of tired. He had some business to attend to, so he couldn't go to the Halloween fair. And by then, her aunt was living with them too, because they felt as though that she needed a woman in the house to to learn from, because they said she was getting a little rough around the edges and she was getting older, and she needed a woman around to teach her how to be a lady. And so her aunt moved in with them and was teaching her, the fundamentals of being a proper woman, a proper lady. And she was just like, "Ugh, well, I guess I better listen to her so I could be proper and whatever." And it was a really good book though. But when they was on their way back from the Halloween thing, the guy, because it was real dark out, back then they didn't really have too many street lights or nothing like that, and they didn't in the country, so it was like pitch black, and they heard someone walking behind them, but they couldn't hear. They couldn't, see them, but they could hear them. And the guy wound up attacking them, and it was actually the guy Yule. Yes, yeah, yes, the man whose daughter accused the black guy of raping her. And they won a case, but he still felt some kind of way, like they made a fool out of him. So he told him he was gonna get him back. So he wound up breaking his son's arm, and really tried to kill him. But what happened was he wound up killing himself. He had a knife, and he fell on the knife. You know, them scuffling or whatever. Because he was a young boy. He was only like in the 7th grade, and she was like probably in the 3rd grade by now. And yeah, so he wound up falling on life and killing himself. But he hurt the little boy. He broke his arm and everything. And yeah, but I mean, you gotta read this book. This is a really good book. I really enjoyed it. It was so easy to read, and I breezed through this book real quick, but it was a lot of other things that went on in this book too that was just extraordinary, and just the children period, they was just, they was very, just vivid characters, you know what I'm saying? So I give this book a 5 stars. This is definitely a good book. I enjoyed it. It was like, what I'm saying, because you went through the trial and everything, but you knew in your heart that he was going to be guilty because of the way the world, and even Atticus knew it too, but he did his best to represent him and to state his case that he was innocent. He was bothered by it, that he, in the end, he wound up getting killed and whatever. And even like the people who from the town, because he was from the town, and the people who he worked for from there even stood up and said things about him, how he, he was a good guy and this and that, but the way of the world, was back then, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's just a good book though, and I recommend it. I really do. All right, guys. So that was it. I mean, I'm not gonna say too much about it because it's a really good book and you should read it. It has a lot of things in it, a lot of things about history and how the town became and everything else. And yeah. All right, guys. So I want to say thank you for joining me and love you.